Desire often enters your life like a soft whisper, a quiet ache you can't fully explain. It's not loud, not forceful, but it lingers in a way that almost feels familiar. And that familiarity isn't an accident. It's the first clue that the life you long for isn't something you're trying to create from nothing. It's something you're remembering. Your deepest desires don't arise from emptiness. They arise from a future version of you who has already stepped into that reality. The longing you feel now is simply the echo. When you look at your life today, you might see gaps, spaces where you feel behind, unfulfilled, or disconnected. There may be dreams that feel too far away, opportunities that seem reserved for other people, or fears that whisper that you're not ready. And yet, beneath all that noise, there's a steady pull towards something more aligned, more expansive, more true. It's a pull that refuses to leave you alone, no matter how many times you try to silence it. That pull is the signal of a life already lived by a future self who is patiently guiding you forward. Most people are taught to see desire as a sign of lack, as evidence that you're missing something. But what if desire is actually the opposite? What if desire is the universe showing you what is already possible for you? What if the reason it feels so intensely personal is because it is personal, because it belongs to you, because you have already stepped into it in another timeline, and your soul is now trying to lead your present self toward it? In those quiet moments when you imagine a different life, one where you feel peaceful, confident, successful, loved, you aren't creating fantasies. You're tuning into a frequency that is already broadcasting. You're glimpsing a version of yourself who has already crossed bridges you haven't fully approached yet. That's why certain dreams stir something deep within you. That's why certain visions feel more like memories than imagination. Your future self is real, and the connection between you is stronger than you think. The part of you that feels stuck right now isn't a failure. It's simply the part of you that hasn't yet realized you're being led. There's an old self inside you, one shaped by fears, doubts, and limitations, that believes desire means distance. It believes that wanting something means it's out of reach. But a new self is awakening, a version shaped by alignment, intuition, and clarity. And this new self knows the truth: you're only drawn to what already belongs to you. Even the frustration you feel at times, the impatience, the heaviness, the longing, is not a sign of being lost. It is a sign of proximity. You don't feel restless when you're far from your path. You feel restless when you're close to remembering it. Your emotions aren't warning you away, they're pointing you toward the exact timeline your soul is trying to lead you into. This script is not here to convince you to chase your desires harder. It's here to help you understand why those desires exist in the first place. It's here to reframe the way you see your dreams, your struggles, and your journey. You are not trying to become someone you are not. You are aligning with someone you already are. You're stepping into a frequency that has been waiting for you. Think of desire as a bridge between timelines. On one side is your current self, unsure and searching. On the other side is your future self, steady and fulfilled. The bridge is built from intuition, emotional resonance, and the quiet knowing that rises in your chest when you picture the life you want. That sensation, that inner spark, is your soul recognizing itself. It's your future self sending you a message: I exist. Keep walking. This journey isn't about forcing your way forward. It's about softening into alignment with what's already meant for you. It's about recognizing that every desire has an intelligence, a purpose, a direction. You wouldn't feel a longing so deeply if the timeline it belongs to didn't already exist. And as you watch this video, the intention is simple: to help you remember the truth you've always sensed, that your desire is proof of destiny, not distance. By the time you reach the end of this script, something in you will feel different. Not because you discovered something new, but because you remembered something ancient within you. You'll start to see your life not as a series of random events, but as a conversation between who you are and who you're becoming. And slowly, gently, you'll begin to trust that the desires that live inside you are not fantasies. They are invitations. This is the beginning of that remembrance. The doorway is open, the timeline is already alive, and the version of you who has everything you desire is waiting on the other side. All you have to do is walk toward the life that has always been yours. Desire is often misunderstood. We have been taught to see it as a reflection of what we lack, a sign that something is missing from our lives. But in truth, desire is far more profound. It is not a cry of emptiness, but a subtle signal from the very fabric of your existence, an indication that a version of you already exists in a reality where that desire is fulfilled. In this way, desire is a bridge, a delicate thread connecting your present experience to the possibilities that are already waiting for you in parallel timelines. It is the universe whispering to you, reminding you of what is already your potential. When we speak of the quantum nature of desire, we enter a realm where linear time loses its dominance. In classical thinking, we believe that cause precedes effect, that effort always comes before reward. Quantum reality challenges this. Here, your present emotions, your intentions, and even your deepest longings can ripple backward and forward, affecting realities beyond your immediate perception. Your desire is not a projection into a distant future. It is an alignment with a frequency where the desired reality already exists. You are feeling the resonance of that reality now before it manifests in the tangible world. Emotions play a critical role in this process. Each feeling you experience carries a vibrational signature, a frequency that either harmonizes with your desired reality or creates dissonance. Joy, excitement, and clarity act like magnetic forces, drawing your present self closer to the version of you that has already achieved the life you crave. Conversely, fear, doubt, and resistance create friction, slowing the bridge between now and the possibility that is calling to you. Understanding this subtle energetic dance is essential for conscious manifestation. Desire without emotional alignment remains a distant echo, while desire coupled with vibrational resonance becomes an active signal that propels you forward. The mind often complicates this process, layering analysis, skepticism, and comparison over the natural guidance of desire. You might ask, why haven't I achieved this yet? Or, what if it's impossible for me? Such questions, though natural, stem from the linear perception of time and cause. From a quantum perspective, these questions are merely obstacles obscuring the bridge that desire has already laid. To honor your desire is to bypass judgment and enter a state of receptive awareness, where your inner guidance can operate unhindered. It is a shift from striving to receiving, from chasing to remembering. Visualization and intentional focus are tools that amplify this resonance. By vividly imagining the life you desire, you engage not only your conscious mind but also the subconscious matrix where your future self already resides. Every detail you hold in your imagination, every sensation you allow yourself to feel, acts as a signal to the universe and to your own psyche. This reality is already real and I am aligning to it. The key is not forcing outcomes but embodying the essence of the reality you wish to experience. As you align emotionally and energetically, the quantum pathways that connect timelines begin to open naturally. Contrasts help clarify this process. Old beliefs maintain that desire equates to lack, that the things you want are proof of absence. New paradigms reveal the opposite. Desire is proof of existence, evidence that a timeline exists where the life you dream of is already lived. Fear and resistance are remnants of the old self clinging to limitation, while excitement and clarity signal alignment with the new self that knows no boundaries. Understanding this distinction shifts perception and empowers action from a place of flow rather than struggle. Science and spirituality converge in this understanding. Quantum physics reveals that observation affects reality, that possibilities coexist until consciousness interacts with them. Likewise, spiritual traditions have long held that the self exists across multiple planes, that the soul navigates dimensions of potential before settling into manifestation. Desire, in this light, is a natural language of the soul, speaking to you in emotion, intuition, and clarity. It is both evidence and invitation, a call to recognize the presence of your future self and to step into resonance with what is already yours. When you cultivate awareness of the quantum nature of desire, you begin to notice subtle signals guiding you. Opportunities that align with your dream appear in synchronicity. People, resources, and ideas seem to converge as if orchestrated by a hidden intelligence. This is not coincidence. It is the natural unfolding of a reality that has already been seeded by your future self and your own alignment. Every desire fulfilled in your life is preceded by this invisible energetic work, a harmonious interplay between inner resonance and outer manifestation. Ultimately, understanding the quantum nature of desire transforms how you approach your life. No longer is desire a burden or a reminder of inadequacy. It becomes a compass, an intimate communication from the self that has already walked the path you long to follow. The moment you begin to sense that your desires are not distant fantasies but echoes of a future self, everything shifts. You realize that the life you long for is not something to chase, but something to recognize within yourself. This future self exists as a fully embodied version of you, vibrating at the frequency of all that you wish to experience. Meeting this version of yourself requires more than imagination. It requires a deep, intentional presence, a willingness to step into a reality where alignment, clarity, and inner knowing guide every action. It is an intimate reunion with a part of you that has never stopped waiting. This future self is not a distant projection or an abstract idea. It is a living, conscious version of you that inhabits a reality where your dreams have already been realized. When you connect with this self, You begin to notice the subtle ways it communicates, through sudden insights, strong emotional pulls, moments of clarity, and synchronicities that feel uncanny. These are not coincidences, they are messages from the self that exists in alignment with your highest potential. The more you attune to these signals, the more you understand that your desires are not a matter of luck or external circumstance. They are invitations to remember what is already true. Visualization, meditation, and introspective reflection are powerful tools for meeting this future self. When you close your eyes and imagine the life you want, you are not merely fantasizing. You are entering a shared consciousness with the self that already lives it. Feel the environment, the sensations, the emotions, and the confidence of that version of you. Imagine the way your future self moves, speaks, and interacts with the world. Allow every detail to become vivid. This is a form of energetic rehearsal, a way of collapsing the distance between present and future, of bringing forward the qualities, beliefs, and alignment that define that version of you. Contrast is crucial in this process. Your old self clings to doubt, fear, and limitation. It measures progress against past failures, societal expectations, and perceived obstacles. In contrast, your future self is free from these restraints. It embodies certainty, creativity, and a sense of effortless alignment with what is possible. Recognizing this difference is transformative. You see that fear is not a barrier to be overcome, it is a signal pointing out the edges of old identity, the boundaries of self-limiting patterns. By stepping into the emotional, cognitive, and spiritual framework of your future self, you begin to dissolve these boundaries, making space for expansion, growth, and manifestation. Identity plays a central role in this process. To meet your future self, you must first understand who you are in your present life, with all your hopes, doubts, and limitations. This self-awareness is the foundation upon which transformation occurs. By observing your thoughts, habits, and emotional reactions without judgment, you create the space to integrate new possibilities. Then, intentionally choosing thoughts, beliefs, and actions that reflect the vibrational state of your future self begins to align you with the life you desire. Over time, this identity rehearsal rewires perception and experience, creating a seamless bridge between who you are now and who you are meant to become. Emotions serve as the energetic language connecting you to this self. Joy, gratitude, excitement, and calm assurance are not only indicators of alignment but also tools for creating it. When you deliberately cultivate these emotions, you signal to your nervous system, subconscious mind, and the quantum field that you are ready to inhabit the timeline where your desires are already real. Conversely, dwelling in fear, frustration, or doubt pulls you away from this resonance. The future self exists in a coherent state of emotional clarity. By tuning your own emotional frequency to match, you begin to attract circumstances, relationships, and opportunities that correspond to that reality. Synchronicities and subtle nudges become increasingly apparent once you connect with your future self. You may notice people, messages, or experiences appearing at just the right moment, as if the universe is orchestrating events to support your alignment. These signals are confirmations, gentle reassurances that you are walking in step with your remembered path. Over time, the practice of meeting your future self cultivates trust, not only in the process of manifestation but in the intelligence of your own inner guidance. You no longer feel like a passive observer of your life. You become an active participant in a co-created reality where desire and existence are harmoniously intertwined. Meeting your future self also requires patience and compassion. Change is rarely instantaneous, and the mind often resists what it cannot fully comprehend. There will be moments when old fears resurface, when doubt creeps in, and when the pull of the old self feels strong. These moments are not setbacks. They are opportunities to reaffirm alignment, to remind yourself that the life you desire is not something to earn, but something to inhabit. Each time you choose clarity, emotional coherence, and intentional thought, you strengthen the connection to your future self, gradually collapsing the perceived distance between present reality and the life already lived by that self. Ultimately, the practice of meeting your future self transforms more than outcomes. It transforms you. It reshapes your inner landscape, rewrites your beliefs, and shifts your perception of what is possible. The version of you who has everything you desire is not a myth. It is a real, conscious identity existing beyond linear time. By attuning to it, by embodying its essence, and by allowing it to guide your choices, you step into a reality where desire and fulfillment are no longer separate. They are intertwined, inseparable, and waiting for you to recognize that you have always been moving toward them. This meeting is not a one-time event. It is a continuous practice. Every thought, feeling, and action becomes an opportunity to align more fully with the self that has already realized the life you seek. The moment you recognize your future self and feel the resonance of your desires, the next step is to begin collapsing timelines, to bring that version of reality into your present experience. This process is not about forcing events or struggling to control outcomes. It is about aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the frequency of the life you are meant to inhabit. Every choice you make, every feeling you nurture, and every belief you hold either strengthens the bridge between your current self and your future self or weakens it. The key is coherence. When your inner state matches the vibrational reality of your desired life, manifestation is no longer a distant hope. It becomes a natural unfolding. Collapsing timelines begins with awareness. You must first recognize where you are now, not just externally but internally. What are the patterns, beliefs, and emotions that define your current reality? Which thoughts keep you anchored in fear, doubt, or limitation? By bringing these into consciousness without judgment, you create the space necessary for transformation. This is not about criticizing the old self. It is about acknowledging it, understanding its role, and then gently choosing a new path that aligns with the self you are becoming. Awareness becomes the foundation for intentionality. Once awareness is established, emotional coherence becomes the next focus. Your future self operates from a state of alignment, emotional, mental, and spiritual. To collapse timelines, you must cultivate the same emotional frequency. This means practicing feelings of joy, gratitude, confidence, and love, even if the external world does not yet reflect them. Emotions are the invisible threads that weave timelines together. When your inner world vibrates in harmony with your desired reality, the outer world begins to respond in kind. Conversely, unresolved fear, frustration, or resistance creates dissonance, holding the desired timeline at a distance. Emotional coherence is not a superficial exercise. It is the energetic signature of your reality, a language your future self and the universe recognize instantly. Visualization is a powerful tool for timeline collapse. By vividly imagining yourself living the life you desire, you are effectively training your mind, body, and energy to inhabit that reality. See yourself moving through your days with the confidence, clarity, and joy of your future self. Feel the sensations as if they are real, the texture of objects, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of voices, the sense of inner peace. Let your imagination evoke the emotions of fulfillment. Every detail you bring to life in your mind's eye signals to the quantum field that this reality is already occupied by you, and it begins to converge with your present moment. Visualization is not escape, it is preparation. Action is the natural complement to internal alignment. Collapsing timelines does not mean sitting passively and waiting for reality to shift. Actions that reflect the beliefs and emotions of your future self reinforce alignment and accelerate manifestation. These actions do not have to be grand or forced. They can be subtle, intuitive, and aligned with your highest self. The key is consistency and intention. When your actions flow naturally from your aligned state, you are no longer acting out of obligation or fear. You are embodying the reality that has already been realized, bridging the gap between who you are and who you are becoming. Contrast continues to play an essential role. Notice the difference between a day lived from your old self and a day lived in alignment with your future self. In one, fear dictates choices, hesitation limits potential, and scarcity shadows every decision. In the other, clarity, trust, and creative inspiration guide you effortlessly. Recognizing these contrasts is empowering. It provides concrete feedback on how to stay aligned. It also makes the shift tangible, reinforcing that your desires are not abstract wishes but actualized potentials waiting to be inhabited. Trust and surrender are vital components of collapsing timelines. While awareness, emotion, and action are necessary, there must also be a willingness to release rigid control over outcomes. Trust does not mean inaction. It means understanding that your aligned state has a momentum of its own. The universe responds to coherence, not to frantic effort. By surrendering to this process while maintaining focus on your alignment, you allow the pathways of your desired reality to open naturally. This balance of action and surrender creates a flow where manifestation occurs effortlessly and harmoniously. Synchronicities intensify as timelines begin to collapse. People, opportunities, and experiences will appear in perfect timing, often in ways that feel miraculous or serendipitous. These are not accidents. They are the universe acknowledging your alignment and signaling that your vibrational reality is converging with the timeline you are meant to inhabit. Paying attention to these signs strengthens trust and encourages deeper alignment. Each synchronicity is a confirmation that the bridge between your present self and your future self is solidifying. As you practice collapsing timelines, identity transformation accelerates. The more you inhabit the emotions, thoughts, and behaviors of your future self, the more your present self naturally evolves to mirror that reality. Old limitations fade not through force but through the quiet power of resonance. You begin to think, speak, and act as someone who already lives your desired life. This is the essence of reality shifting, becoming the version of you who has always existed, bridging the perceived gap between longing and fulfillment. Ultimately, collapsing timelines is an art of integration. It is the dance of awareness, emotional coherence, intentional action, trust, and alignment. It is the realization that the life you desire is not distant, nor is it something to chase. It has always existed, and your role is simply to step fully into it. Each choice, each emotion, and each action becomes a thread weaving the fabric of your reality into one coherent, harmonious whole. The life you long for is waiting, already alive in the energy of your future self. By embracing this process, you do more than manifest. You awaken to the undeniable truth that you have always been and always will be the creator of the reality you are meant to live. As we arrive at the conclusion of this journey, it becomes clear that the life you have been yearning for has never been as distant as it once seemed. All along, your desires have been whispers from a future self who already inhabits the reality you long to experience. They are not reminders of absence or lack. They are evidence of what is possible, tangible, and already alive in another version of you. Understanding this transforms the way you relate to your dreams, your choices, and your sense of self. You are no longer chasing something external, you are remembering something internal, a truth that has always existed within your consciousness. Stepping into this remembered life begins with a quiet acknowledgement of your own alignment. It is the recognition that every longing, every vision, and every sensation of desire is a signal from the self that already knows what fulfillment feels like. When you honor this, you shift from living in a state of striving to living in a state of resonance. You begin to move through the world not with tension or desperation, but with a calm certainty that draws the circumstances, people, and opportunities that correspond with your aligned reality. Your future self is not a distant figure. It is a presence that exists right here, waiting for you to attune fully to its frequency. This transition requires trust, patience, and self-compassion. There will be moments when old patterns, fears, and doubts arise. These are not failures. They are opportunities to reaffirm your connection with the life that is already yours. By choosing alignment over resistance, clarity over confusion, and love over fear, you strengthen the bridge between the present and the timeline your future self occupies. Each act of intentional thought, feeling, or choice becomes a step closer to embodying the life you have always desired. The more consistently you maintain this alignment, the more natural it becomes to live as though your desires are already manifested. Gratitude plays a central role in stepping fully into this remembered life. By expressing appreciation for the life you currently have, while simultaneously feeling gratitude for the life you are moving toward, you create a vibrational harmony that accelerates your alignment. Gratitude is not merely a practice. It is a signal to the universe and to your own energy field that you are ready to receive what is already yours. It acts as both anchor and catalyst, grounding you in the present while opening the doorway to the reality of your fulfilled desires. Integration is the final step. To truly inhabit the life your future self has been signaling, you must weave the insights, practices, and realizations of this journey into the fabric of your daily experience. This includes cultivating awareness of your thoughts, emotions, and actions, maintaining coherence with your aligned state, and responding to the guidance and synchronicities that appear in your life. Integration is not a single act. It is a continuous, evolving process of remembering, practicing, and embodying the truth of your desires. As you move forward, the distinction between present and future begins to dissolve. You start to notice that the life you imagined, visualized, and aligned with begins to flow effortlessly into your reality. The bridge between who you were and who you are becoming is no longer theoretical. It is experienced in every thought, feeling, and interaction. The old self, defined by doubt and limitation, gradually recedes, while the version of you that has always lived your desired life emerges more fully each day. You step into each moment with a sense of ease, confidence, and clarity that feels both natural and profound. The essence of this journey is simple yet powerful. You desire it because your future self already lives it. This understanding transforms desire from a source of tension into a source of guidance. It transforms longing into remembrance. And it transforms your perception of reality from one of scarcity and struggle to one of abundance, possibility, and alignment. By embracing this truth, you no longer need to chase, convince, or fight for what you want. You only need to align, embody, and trust that the life you desire is unfolding in perfect timing. As you bring this journey to a close, Allow yourself to feel the full weight of this truth. Feel the calm certainty that comes from knowing your desires are not mere wishes, they are pre-existing realities waiting for your conscious alignment. Step into each day with awareness, purpose, and the quiet confidence that arises from inner knowing. Your future self is not a distant dream, it is a present reality that you can access through attention, coherence, and intentional living. In embracing this, you take your place not as a seeker of desire, but as a conscious co-creator of the life you have always been destined to live. Remember, the bridge is already built. The timeline is already alive. Your future self is waiting. All that remains is for you to step forward, to claim what has always been yours, and to live fully in the reality that has been patiently awaiting your arrival. The life you desire is not somewhere in the distance. It is here, now, and within your reach. By aligning with it, embodying it, and trusting it, you complete the journey from longing to living, from separation to unity, and from desire to remembrance.